Huh. A review on Appaloosa's Most Wanted by Tommy. Oh well, might as well see what he had to say about it. Okay. No! Stop! Just stop it, alright? We're not gonna do that this time, okay? Just stop it! Alright. As you know, whenever I do these ramble videos, I just do a whole bunch of yelling with aimless aggravation with dumb cutaway references. It's basically become the staple of this miniseries. I just say all these things about the person in a frustrated manner and then follow it up with a calmer video. Well, you know what? This time, I just want to do something different. I want this last entry to be completely straightforward. No joking, no anger, to the best of my ability, no swearing, no dumb cuts, just me talking about what I didn't like about Tommy Oliver's videos. And this time, I'm not just gonna talk aimlessly. I'm going to speak as if Tommy Oliver himself is before me. So, Tommy Oliver, if by any chance you are watching this, I want you to listen because I am talking directly to you. No exaggeration out of petty anger, just a straightforward ramble on your reviews. You'll probably still think this is a rant, but I just need to finish this, okay? Now, Tommy, I know you've talked with FNGR. I know you think of me as a person who represents everything that is wrong with this fandom, and I don't blame you. In fact, you're actually kind of right. I was being a horrible, horrible influence on this fandom, and I deserve whatever negative reception I have received for it. But before this is all over, I need to get this last piece out. And I just want you to understand to the best of your ability as you're watching this. I admit, I fucked up a shit ton, and I may continue to make more mistakes long after this video has been posted. However, the time has finally come, and it's time that I talked about you. Now, I'm sure you're a pleasant guy and all, but for a long while now, there is one single thing that I have been waiting to get off my chest. And as you already guessed, it's how I don't think you were a good reviewer for this show. Now, hear me out. I know you've made your own ramble on your frustration with the fandom's positivity, but let me try to take this from a different angle. The problem isn't your reviews being positive or negative or giving any sort of affiliation. This is more along the lines of your reviews feeling misinformative. Honestly, I could care less if you have certain dislikes because everyone has their dislikes, but you have to, at some point, think about the possibility that maybe, just maybe, you made a lot of mistakes in your episode reviews, and what continues to keep this argument going forward is your inability to admit to the possibility that you made these mistakes while reviewing these episodes, as well as all of your fans commenting in the comment sections of all of your videos, blindly taking what you say into account without considering the possibility that you made a mistake. First off, it was kind of irritating how you would be in conflict with these newer episodes depending on the new directions they were taking the show. And when that happens, you tend to go into boring monologues that fail to keep our interests. I mean, not liking something is a choice, but you have to at least sound interested in what you're doing. Because if you show a lack of interest in your work, it's going to show, and the audience will begin to think less of your material for it, which is what happened to Digibro. Your growing disinterest in the show led to these things happening, and it would cause you to lose track or stay on one subject for too long. The entirety of your Daring Don't review dangled on the concept of how much you were willing to accept that Daring Do was real. It just resulted in the review being a cluttered mess, alright? And your Q&A videos. They weren't about the questions as much as they were about your headcanons. I know you answered a lot of questions, but when you create these headcanons for yourself, you end up building these unrealistic expectations, which we will be exploring throughout this video. Your crossover with Digibro, where you said that you thought we were only gonna harp on the negative shit on Season 4, fuck no, came across as a really overblown claim. I understand that you had no way of knowing how much you would enjoy the rest of the season, but when you literally open your review with an impression on how you will review the rest of the season, that is a really bold claim to make, and it can be seen as lying to your viewers. It just further proves how you were just setting up these unrealistic expectations. Another thing, you seemed worried about Season 4 being different from other seasons. I knew that this wasn't a good sign because it was just adding more worry to the possibility of you caring less and less and less on what you were talking about when it came to this show. Now, when you stated your concerns for Twilight becoming an alicorn, you were worried about her not learning any more lessons on friendship. Did you just completely miss the point of the evolution of her character? She became an alicorn because she learned everything that she needed to learn. I'm not saying that she's not allowed to learn anything else, but she should have learned enough to satisfy you, and you weren't satisfied by what I saw. And it just further provoked you to compare Season 4 to preceding seasons out of some kind of lack of understanding what Season 4 was aiming for. As for the episode reviews themselves, you really tended to overlook things. For one thing, your It Ain't Easy Being Breezy's review was a bombshell of horridness. And no, it's not because you think it's the worst episode of the series. It was a bad review because it was a bad review. You literally start the episode's bad part by saying it was an advertisement. Whoop-de-shit! It's a television show run by Hasbro promoting one of their toy lines. You don't think they're gonna do that every once in a while? You think they didn't do something like that already? And then you proceed this by saying that the existence of the Breezes is one huge plot hole with messed up exposition and concepts. When you say that, you're saying that you were unwilling to seek a different understanding of their concept. You didn't even care enough about it to say anything other than that 7-second summary on their presence. The majority of the rest of the review is just you asking questions that are practically self-explanatory. Your first question was being, where did they come from? We literally see where they came from at the end of the episode. Seabreeze being a dick? He had every right to be a dick. How would you feel if the laziness of your friends kept you from reuniting with your wife and child, much less cause you to be separated from them by the closing of a magic portal? The moral isn't about being an asshole. The moral is learning how to balance kindness and assertiveness. Hell, you practically said something like that in the beginning when you were addressing Fluttershy not being afraid. How do you make a mistake like this? Oh, and Twilight pulling a magic spell out of her ass? She does that all the fucking time. Hell, it was a running shtick in Season 1. You don't think making physical items appearing out of thin air and not being created out of something in her environment is a questionable magic spell? You don't think reprogramming the eating habit of an organic being is a questionable magic spell? Hell, at some point she contemplated a reforming spell that takes away free will. Did you find any problems with Twilight using dark magic that takes away free will? No, you didn't, because I watched your My Little Comment on Keep Calm and Flutter On. For a video having the title My Little Comment, you didn't really comment on the questionable nature of Twilight using dark magic. Oh, but simply using magic to turn into tiny fairies, even though she's previously used magic to turn things into oranges? That's an eye-opener. And then you had the audacity to make a bad episode review 2 weeks in a row with the beef that people had with you when you reviewed Maud Pie, with your claims on how the characters didn't learn anything, that it simply ended because it didn't have a resident moral, the idea of Maud expressing herself differently being played for laughs instead of being used for its full potential, and that people aren't allowed to be acquainted better by having something in common, which in this case was the character's friendship with Diane. That's what you call missing the point of the episode, Tommy. You got a whole bunch of people telling you that you're better than this. Hell, I'll even go so far as to say that they're actually right on this. How is it that you became so absent-minded that at some point you were willing to defend the flaws of a Canterlot wedding and double Rainboom by going up against Anthony C., Mr. Enter, and Josh Scorcher and accuse them of having bad expectations, and then immediately the next minute you spend a good chunk of your Season 4 reviews doing the exact same thing that they did? Or is it because there weren't enough rarity episodes that season to keep you satisfied? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm going there. I'm all for people having a favorite character, but by God, you are really bad at it. You could write a story about how Rarity sells out and emotionally destroys her friends, and you'd still say that you enjoyed it. Oh, and let's not forget that you tend to repeat this trend every time there's an episode that focuses on the Cutie Mark Crusaders. I'm sure as you're watching this you think it's annoying that I'm harping on your fangasms for Rarity and the CMC, despite that I tend to have my own fangasms for Pinkie Pie. But I wouldn't have to if every tiresome review didn't make it seem like you were being completely biased towards a story based solely on the character it was focusing on. Hey, you wanna know what would have made Philly Vanilli a much better episode? If it was a Sweetie Belle episode instead of a my least favorite of the main 6 episode. You wanna know what makes Some Pony to Watch Over Me better than Traja? Because it's a CMC episode. You wanna know what makes Simple Ways better than Three's a Crowd? Because it's a Rarity episode. I really don't want to accuse you of this, Tommy, but it really seems that given this kind of track record, you would have had a completely different reaction to the Equestria games if it focused on Rarity instead of Spike. Your review on that episode was a total fucking mess. It's actually shocking that throughout the entire runtime of the video, you didn't even review the episode. You just spent 8 minutes complaining about the episode's false advertising. Oh, I'm sorry, you actually spend 5 minutes complaining about it due to a pointless cameo by Digibro that ultimately amounts to nothing. Hell, even if the episode was badly advertised due to Hasbro's aimless fucking idiocy, that still doesn't make your opinion on it any easier to stomach. Weren't you the one who said that they should cut the kid some slack? And when they finally do cut the kid some slack, you completely neglect to even talk about it. And don't try to justify the whole thing by saying something like, "It's my review, why do you care?" No, 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 you condescending gentleman. A reviewer is reviewing something when the reviewer in question is talking about what was actually there, not when they're whining about how they didn't get what they wanted. And a reviewer does that by talking about the actual plot, the way it was written, the character who develops in the story, and the moral that reflects on the events that occurred. Even Golden Fox got that one right. If I saw a movie called Nicolas Cage Not Being Funny, and the movie delivered its promise to feature Nicolas Cage not being funny, it's still Nicolas Cage not being funny. It led me to believe that you actually thought for a moment that Hasbro cared about something other than just cashing in on views of this show. As a result, you blamed the entire writing staff that did the actual writing for the episode's story for something that they had no part of and that you didn't care about the point that the episode was making. Then I came across something that literally stopped me in my tracks. I suppose that you not talking about the songs in Twilight's Kingdom was due to you being absent-minded like you were all season, and then I came across a comment where you literally state that you didn't talk about the songs simply because they were junk. Isn't it kind of a no-brainer that you don't leave out aspects of what you're reviewing in order to avoid someone in the comment section going, "Hey, you forgot to talk about the song sequences, could you try updating your opinions on them in the future? At least make a separate video on them?" Digibro missed the point and the concepts of the songs, but at least he talked about them. He didn't leave them out simply because of a biased gut reaction. Voice of Reason didn't like Generosity, and he gave some kind of explanation to help us understand why. Is it that you decided that from that point onward that you were going to start leaving out certain aspects of an episode based on your personal perspective on what junk is? Biter 7-5 doesn't do something like that. You see what you did, Tommy? You made me compliment Biter 7-5 as a reviewer. I'm sorry, but it's true. Your reviews of Season 4 were so horrible that I was thrown to compliment Biter 7-5. Now for the Season 5 reviews that you did up to that point. I just went on a whole ramble on how much I didn't like your reviews, and even I can tell that a skip the bad button has self-defeat written all over it. Why did you even do it in the first place if you knew that it was going to reduce the ratings on your videos? Now obviously you're going to think that I'll accuse you of calling people sheep. You didn't, okay? I don't think you were calling people sheep. However, that entire ramble still felt as if you were heavily talking down to people who were having problems with your reviews. And it turns out that they had every right to when I learned that because of a fan theory that an episode is significantly worse. Dude, it's a fucking fan theory. You think that Tanks for the Memories is horrible because of someone's made-up headcanon? That's like me thinking that a Canterlot wedding is automatically good because of your headcanon on how it's referring to the mythical legend bullshit or whatever. Finally, it's time to address the elephant in the room. Your departure from the fandom. Okay, I kinda saw this coming, so I can't say that it bothered me a whole lot, but your ramble that pretty much attacked the fandom just came across as incredibly uncalled for. And before you say look who's talking, two wrongs don't make a right, okay? They don't. I can understand that you had some frustration to get off of your chest because I did too, and I completely agree with you that Troubleshoes getting his cutie mark out of nowhere shatters one of the set rules of the show's universe. But the way you presented yourself, even going so far as to say the fandom as a whole is fucking pathetic, degraded, a husk, a cult that doesn't know how to think, even people who supported you up to that point knew that this was going too far. Because let me show you something, Tommy. No, seriously, let me show you something. I know I can't see the look on your face right now, but I know you're thinking about closing this tab and walking away from your computer monitor out of your hatred for me. But just take into account that I will regain even the smallest smudge of respect for you if you see what I have to show you. Because I'm gonna show you how not pathetic this fandom is, how capable of thinking it is. This is what we did, as a community and as a fandom, in the weeks that you were preparing to let out your selfish little ramble on your channel in front of thousands of people.
The grand total of money raised for Keyframe through both PayPal and GoFundMe was over... oh god. It was over a whopping $23.5 thousand.
All of you. Every single one of you. Even those who simply thought that she deserves better. You all helped. All your positive energy, all your wishes, all your spirit helped to save her.
But thankfully, thanks to the support and effort of Eliora, the Wilsonator, and lots of other analysts in the Rift Cafe and in the Bronalysis community, the word is out, and thanks to the wonderful donations, we're able to raise a lot of money for Key to move to California and help her get back on her feet.
Keyframe's like a little sister to me, and I wish her the best when it comes to her new life. Because, yeah, she's totally gonna use it for cons and use it like a scam. Okay, people who think that are beyond stupid. But, in all seriousness, I hope everything works well. Thank you guys so much for this.
It was very unexpected of us to have this much excessive amount of money donated, and I can't thank you guys enough. It means a lot to know that there are people out there who are willing to do whatever they can to help others. It's incredible to know how so much hope can be brought into one package. Key is currently getting her stuff packed up and ready to fly sometime later this month. Honey, I'll be there waiting for you at the airport.
Congratulations, Tommy. You just been in the face of everyone who helped save Keyframe's life. Yeah, this is the fandom that you walked out on. A group of people that took time out of their existence to help someone move out of an abusive household. Compared to everything that we went through to prevent her from going through further trauma, what good is your little ramble for? Stirring up more drama in the comment section of that video with Bronies and Pegasisters in a pointless debate over the show going through seasonal rot, or even worse, people actually agreeing with you on the idea that this fandom actually has become pathetic as you're making it out to be. All of this because of a divided state created by just as equally pathetic season 1ers who are quick to put seasons 1 and 2 on a pedestal while throwing shit at seasons 3 through 5 by default. Oh yeah, because seasons 1 and 2 were such flawless fucking masterpieces that they could easily be on par with The Lion King and Lord of the fucking Rings. If you were trying to represent that part of the fan base that is going to war with itself in less than 2 to 3 years within its debut over the quality of the thing that it glorified in the first place, especially with the title My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic writing on its identity, the Sonic the Hedgehog fanbase is better at it than you. Hell, the Naruto fanbase is better at it than you, and they got angry over Naruto and Sasuke not being homosexuals. You buttocks! Okay, I'm cool, I'm fine. It's just, It's something that I've been wanting to say for a long time now. I know people are going to hate me for it, but I'm sorry. That's just what it's like being me at this moment. That is how horrible the fandom of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic became for me. Maybe that's the point I've been trying to get across in this stupid mini-series. But you know what? It's over. It's finally over. I said I was going to get through this, and I did. My frustration is all out now, or at least I'd like to believe that it is. So, I think it's time that I took this moment to say some things. Lethal Aurora Mage, I'm sorry about what I said about your voice. And I'm sorry about that statement about your artwork. It was so stupid of me to say those things. You are a kind, gentle, and very talented woman, and you don't deserve all the dislike you get. You truly don't. I was being incredibly selfish, even in my afterthoughts video where I stated that I didn't know if I'd be able to talk to you over the things I did. After getting to talk to you personally, I know now that I was in no position to criticize you the way that I did. And I really am thankful that I've gotten the chance to know you as a person. It really was a rewarding experience. Biter, if it means anything, I really truly enjoyed the time I spent talking with you in FNGR's Limbo. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me on this, but I think that you have a lot more to offer than what people give you credit for. You take a lot of time, thinking, and effort into putting together the work that you do, and I can understand how frustrating it is to see all that hard work being for nothing if it's just blindly panned by everybody. You're a nice guy to talk to, and I really hope that more people get to know the side of you that I've gotten to know of you. Digibro, I know you had a lot of interesting things to say about yourself, and that you actually have a lot to say. About the world, and how there's things in it waiting to be talked about and stuff like that. I know people harp on you for things that happened, but I think we can move past that if we give each other another chance. You were willing to share more about yourself than me, and I can really acknowledge that. I don't know the full details, but for what it's worth, I hope your family is doing better. Golden Fox, everything I said about you was completely uncalled for, and I had no right to go through with it without knowing more about how you were feeling about the whole thing. And I especially feel bad that I did it while you had something more important to worry about. I swear if I had known that was happening any sooner, I never would have done what I did. Because even at that time, I knew how much she means to you. Hence why I didn't involve her in that video. All I can say is I assumed so much, and I was so wrong in my assumptions on so many levels, that you really forgave me more than you had any right to. And I thank you for that. Heavily. For no good reason. You had every right to call me out on my bullshit. What I was doing was uncalled for, and the idea that it was causing a war in the Rift just makes me feel even worse about it. I don't think of it as a war, but if my childish rambling really did cause more harm than I believe it has, I completely deserve every single thing you said about me. And just to debunk a concern on your end, the idea of me doing more rants after I finished my 6, no. No, I'm done with those, okay? Maybe I'll have fun with how bad Cuddle Pug's reviews are in the future, but no, I'm not doing any more rant series. I've seen the consequences of that kind of stuff, and I don't want them to start all over again. I'm glad we got a chance to talk because I think it helped me realize how far into the ground I dug a hole for myself. You were right. I was being hurtful and mean, and I was coming up with every defense I could think of to justify what I was doing. And I'm sure that even before this video ends, you'll take this whole ramble I just did into account, and you will probably not want to have anything to do with me. I completely understand why you would feel that way. I guess I didn't realize who I was hurting until after it was too late to notice it. And you don't have to be associated with someone who acted like a bully to everyone if you don't want to. I don't have any control over that, and it's entirely your choice. Past analysis. I'm sorry. I know you've told me about the problems you have with people being too positive, but I really didn't know. I had no idea how much of an effect it was having until Tommy left. I know now that being too positive can be a problem. I admit, I was one of those people having a hard time accepting criticism towards the show, and in a way, I kind of still am. But I don't want to look like a guy who's attacking free speech. I just had some things to say on the divided state of the fan base, and I went about it the wrong way. Completely. I'm sure you might be a little cautious of whatever I work on in the future, and I understand why. I mean, when a guy causes a controversy this huge, everything they do needs to be thought through very carefully, especially if they're aiming to better themselves. I can't believe I'm doing this. But... Cuddlepug. I've been leaving a few comments on your DeviantArt page. As far as I know, you haven't seen them. Hell, you probably don't even know that my videos on you exist. Just let me cut to the chase. Even after everything I said about your reviews being bad and my reaction to your Pinkie Pie submission, I'd still want to have some kind of typed conversation with you. If there is something about you that I don't know that will help me to like you better, then I'd really like to know what it is. Okay? Okay. And last but not least, Tommy, on the off chance that you didn't rage quit this video, I have some things to say to you. I should have said them while you were still a member of the Analysis League. Hell, I probably should have said them at the start of the video, but then again, I had some frustration to get rid of. But in all seriousness, just try to understand where I'm coming from with this. I admit, I was not a fan of a lot of things you said and did about the show and its fandom. But I can understand why you did it. You had your own thoughts on the show, and you shouldn't have let any detractors in your comment section have any effect on how you expressed them. You never should have felt like you were being pressured into being dishonest with yourself. It took me some time to realize. I don't know why it did. It also took a lot of backlash. But I know now. I've known for a while that everything I did was wrong. You have more important things you want to work on now, and I can at least respect that. But I want you to know, if what I was doing had anything to do with that ramble you let out your frustration on, if I was the subject or standing example of the people you were talking about in that ramble, then I'm sorry. I was just so tired of the fandom being divided over the show's quality, and the last thing I wanted was to seriously hurt anyone. Maybe you weren't hurt, but I can tell that you were easily insulted. I truly am sorry that I insulted you. And I'm really sorry if I made you feel like nothing more than a critic. You guys, I really am sorry for what I did. Hell, I'm sorry I even described you as targets for my rants. I don't even know what the hell I was thinking at the time. To call you targets for my rants was the same thing as not thinking of you as a person. I was just so irritated and angry. I didn't know how to cope with it. even though I completely disagree with a lot of things you said, I never should have used them as an excuse to gang up on you the way I did. Maybe I was right to point out your flaws as reviewers, but the way that I went about it, just this frustrated, petulant, tempered child. You guys deserved better than that. And you don't deserve the overbearing crap that you've gotten. I don't expect it to be anytime soon, but maybe sometime in the future, we could be better acquainted. A lot better acquainted. But for now, I have something to work on. And I can't appropriately proceed with the future of my channel until it's done. And yes, that means I'm holding off on episode reviews until it's finished. I'm not sure how long it'll take. Maybe it won't take up that much time. But getting this done is a lot more important than simply expressing some opinion I had on an episode. I just feel like there's this new kind of frustration that somewhere down the line replaced the frustration I had with the fandom. Now, it's frustration I have with myself, and I can't move forward until it's dealt with. So until then, you guys take care of yourselves. MisAnthro Pony, over and out.